Do you always try to stop trespassers by hanging yourself?
Alright, let's do a review of The Hills Have Eyes. I figured that since we matched, it would be a great time to do this movie. The Hills Have Eyes is based around two families. There is the Savage family, led by Papa Jupiter, who live out in the desert and scavenge and basically steal from other people. Then you have the Carter family, which is essentially the ideal American family out on a vacation, and they end up breaking down in the Nevada desert. Unfortunately for them, it's right around the Jupiter clan's hunting area. The movie focuses on the interactions between these two families and looks at how the barbaric actions of the Jupiter clan can lead into the destruction of the civilized behavior of the Carter family. The movie itself, while you do have some rush delivery takes, for the most part is pretty good. It's definitely better than mine. The movie is gory by 70s standards, though just perusing other reviews just for information, some people are disgusted by it today. Though compared to some movies that are out, it is definitely tame by today's super gory standards. That doesn't mean it doesn't have gore, just means it's a little bit less gory than some movies. To give a little bit of context about this movie, it was made in 1977, which means it was made after the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but before John Carpenter's Halloween. So it's in that time period when horror movies were really pushing the boundaries on what you could do in films, but the types of things that you could show. And it definitely is before the big explosion of the slasher genre that came in the 80s. This movie originally received an X rating, and I think they had to do some cuts and trims to try and get it down to an R. The version I have says it's uncut and uncensored, and it has an R rating. So maybe the rating got dropped and it got re-rated or something. About the DVD release itself, it doesn't really have any special features. It's basically the movie and a commentary track by Wes Craven and Peter Locke. I did listen to this commentary track, and for a commentary track that was just, director and producer, it actually was pretty good. It was mostly anecdotal, and they, basically two old friends talking about a movie they'd made 30 some years ago. The picture quality, it's decent. It's a film made in the 70s on 16mm film, so you can't expect the same nice crisp picture that you can from movies today. Sound quality was good. Overall, I give this movie a 7.75 out of 10. If you're a horror fan and don't mind movies that are a little bit dated, I'm not going to say it's old, because there are definitely movies that are far older than that I'll be reviewing. So if you like movies that are a little bit older, I'd give this one a look. It's pretty good. And this concludes the spoiler-free portion of the review. The Jupiter clan, which is made up of Papa Jupiter, his sons Pluto, Mars, and Mercury, along with Ruby, represent the antisocial aspects. They live out in the desert. They break many social taboos in American culture. They rob, they loot, they kill, they kidnap, and they cannibalize people. Essentially, if there's something bad that you can do to another person, this family probably has no problem doing that. In stark contrast to the Jupiter clan, we have the Carter family, which is very much a representation of an idealized version of the American family. You have Big Bob Carter, who is a recently retired police officer, thereby symbolically representing justice, law and order, and basically control, as opposed to the chaos of the Jupiter family. His wife, Ethel Carter, is essentially the paradigm, is essentially a prim and proper Christian woman, something that would definitely be seen as an ideal version of someone in the 70s. And while these two are living, the Carter family stays on their path of righteousness and never really strays into the savageness and viciousness that they do later in the film after the deaths of the patriarch and matriarch of that family. With the deaths of these two characters, along with one of the daughters and the kidnapping of a baby, the surviving members of the Carter family start to become more aggressive. You have Doug Wood, who is the son-in-law of Big Bob Carter, and the father of the kidnapped baby, going out with the dog Beast to actively search for the baby and go out and stop this family. He's kind of on the warpath. He ends up meeting up with Mars, and they have a showdown in which Doug actively assaults Mars, throws rocks at him, jumps him, and then repeatedly stabs him to death. And it is mentioned in the commentary that they actually had to reduce the number of times that Doug stabbed Mars to get the lore rating. Essentially, he's pushed to a near crazed state. You have the other two children in the Carter clan, Bobby and his sister, who are sort of being stalked by Papa Jupiter, and they take a very active approach. They set a trap to try and capture Papa Jupiter and kill him, and they actually use their dead mother as bait. Definitely outside of the idealized form that they would have been at the beginning of the film. Their plan to blow him up with the trailer, or blow him up with the not trailer, but camper, doesn't succeed, and they end up sort of savagely hacking it. The sister finds an axe, and she hacks at him with it. Well, not an axe, it's a hatchet, actually. And then Bobby shoots him with the last two bullets that they have in the gun. And at this point, the Carter family has gone completely from being the well-upstanding society version that they were, and they have had to become savage to fight this family. The film does abruptly end, so you don't get to see how they go on after that, how they're affected by these events. I would imagine they don't stay crazed. I think there's just more like a temporary insanity type thing. Plus, you also don't get to see what happens to them, seeing as the movie ends with them being stuck in the desert. Let's call this the English 101 analysis of the review. Basically, it's me taking one element of the film and just sort of expanding on it in that way that they like you to do in English classes. And I will be looking at the dogs that the Carter family has. They have 2 dogs. They appear to be German Shepherds, Beauty and the Beast, named for, well, Beauty and the Beast. But the names also seem to have symbolic representation. Beauty is the good in the world, the order in the world, the goodness in life, the staying within societal rules. Beauty runs off into this desert shortly after they get stranded, and she ends up being gutted by Pluto, one of Papa Jupiter's sons. So after the death of Beauty, Beast escapes his chains, and symbolically, the Beauty is gone, the Beast has now been unleashed. And Beast goes, and he is the one who sort of starts the counterattack, if you will. He knocks Mercury, one of the suns, off a cliff, and later does a 2-part attack on Pluto. The first attack attacking him in the legs, disabling him, and the second attack attacking him in the neck and killing him. It should also be, it's also kind of, well, not important, but it should be noteworthy that the dog's kills, the first 2 kills of the Jupiter clan, are done before any of the members of the Carter clan actually do any of the savage behavior that they do later. In a way, Beast sort of is the forerunner and the switch from the good to the savage, and he sort of leads the way for the Carter family's transformation that they see in the film. And that is what I have for this type of analysis. Well, that is my review of The Hills Have Eyes. I hope I find a way to get this edited to a way that it doesn't look completely idiotic. And after this review, we have The Hills Have Eyes Part 2 to look at, as well as the remake version of The Hills Have Eyes. Those will probably be coming up fairly shortly on my review list. So until then, please leave any comments that you have down in the comment section below. If you liked it, hit the like button, and if you'd like to, subscribe. I hope to see you in the future. Thanks. Bye.